Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial video. This time we're going to be looking at last minute notes for the poetry paper. So I've broken this down into the two sections, section A and section B, and I recommend that you burn this as an MP3 or something. Just listen to it a couple of times before the exam and you should have a clear idea and direction of what you want to do. So the first and most important thing throughout this is to remember that you have to mention a range of smile points, okay? Structure, meaning, image, language, and the effect on reader. So try and pick out as many of them as you can and link them, show how everything supports the meaning. Okay, so basically if you pick out something for structure, saying this also helps us to see the whatever part of the meaning you're talking about is, and then explain the effect on the reader, what it actually does. Okay, secondly, make sure as you're going through that you're always cross-referencing the poem. So if your first paragraph is about poem A, make sure your second paragraph is about poem B. You can just write 3 paragraphs about section A, then 3 paragraphs against section B, but it's not as an apt a cross-referencing system as going between one and the other. The chief examiner said that that's their preference, so I'd recommend you do it, but if you don't feel comfortable doing it, then you're not going to lose too many marks, or you're not going to lose any marks, in fact, for doing it the other way. It's just that your writing isn't going to seem as sophisticated. Okay, always mention the effect of anything that you pick out. So if you pick out any of these points of smile, say what it does. Does it make the reader feel something? Does it help the writer explain something better? Does it give us emphasis on something in particular? Always pick that out. When you're looking at each paragraph then, and you're actually writing your essay, you want to follow the Peels technique. Now this is very straightforward. For the first part, you've got the point, evidence, and analyze or explain that you're used to doing for everything. And then you've got link to another element of smile, because that's pushing your analysis level a little further. And then you've got the switch. Now with the link, you can do this once or you can do this twice. It's up to you. It just depends how confident you are in doing it. So make sure that you do it first and foremost, and then as many times as you can, but don't go for overkill. Don't just keep going with like 5 different points. I wouldn't really develop it because you've already done 1 point in the analysis. So then if you go into too many points, then you're not going to talk about enough of a range. So for each paragraph, just try and add 1 or 2, and we'll look at some linking phrases in a second. Now the last thing you want to do in each paragraph is switch. Okay, so switch here being switched to the other poem and focusing on how it's similar or different. So we'll look at some phrases now. Bear these in mind and use them. The most evident theme is, we get a sense of, the theme of, the writer highlights, another strong idea is, the writer conveys. All of that will give you a clear start for each of your points. Okay, so you just mention what the writer's talking about and then switch it. With your evidence, you just pick out something short, pithy, relevant, just to get you don't need to copy whole chunks or whole sections. Just get exactly what you're focusing on down, and the shorter the evidence you use, the better, because it's more obviously concise. Now in your analysis, you can open up your analysis after you put down the evidence by saying this indicates, this gives us a feeling of, this develops the idea, this makes us consider, and that's where you're talking about the effect on the reader or why the writer has chosen something. Now when we get to the link part, linking to other elements, you can say this is aided by, this is furthered by, something adds to the, or emphasis is added through, or this is supported by. So this is where you pick another point. So you might be, this is aided by the use of the word bang, or this is furthered by the unique structure, this is added to by the strong image, etc. So you might have had here, the most evident theme is war, and then pick out an evidence. This indicates that the feeling of being trapped, or the feeling of fear because of the impending army, etc. And this is aided by the word which gives us a really strong image. So you can just build your whole point like that, and then again you just add, this is also furthered by, or this is also added to by, if you wanted to bring in a second one as well. Now within each paragraph, swap the focus of your essay to the other poem. So you started on poem A, and then you can just get across to poem B and show how it focuses on something similar or different. Or you can leave it across 2 separate paragraphs. So rather than making one massive paragraph, you can just write poem 1 in the first paragraph, and then just start poem 2 with any of these adding or switching phrases, or whichever way you want to do it. So this would be adding phrases. Could also, if you're mentioning a similarity of some kind, you can say we also see, or similarly, in the same way, this also used or highlighted or demonstrated or features. So any of them will actually just allow you to go into your comparison part very easily. And the switching phrases, if there's something opposite, you can say however, on the other hand, or poem B, whatever it's called, focus on a different altogether, in contrast. You won't need more than 3 or 4, because you're not going to have time to write more than 3 similarities and 3 differences. So having that range there should be sufficient just to get you comparing well. And as I said before in the actual video, you see in the essays, in the model essays, the AQA mark, they give a tick just after they see these words used, because it actually hits a descriptor to actually compare efficiently. So we move on then to section B. Now there's very few things that you want to do. Now first of all, read the poem twice, okay, before you've done anything else, and then underline keywords. You might not have 100% understanding of what the poem means. That's not a problem. It really doesn't matter. What you need to be able to do is write about it. So underline keywords, you know, things that actually lend themselves to smile. And make a smile list, either as your plan or on the page. Don't spend too long on it. Just get 2 or 3 points down for each one. So you know, so you've got the structure, the meaning, the image, the language, and then the effect on the reader. And then the first thing I'd actually look to pick out after as I'm going through my smile list, is I would actually look at the feelings, the themes, you know, the meaning, okay? And then the next things that you actually go through, look at the structure, because that's the easiest one to identify, just looking at it on the page, and then think about how it supports the meaning. Yeah, look at the punctuation use, look at irregularity in lines, look at how many speakers there are, etc, etc, etc. Then pick out the images and how they support the meaning. You know, what scenes are presented to you, what's the level of detail, what colours are used, what's the overall feeling you get from it, etc. What kind of atmosphere comes across. Then look at language, okay? How does language actually support the meaning? How do the words have, which words in particular have a really strong effect? What literary devices are used and why they're used? Is the way that the reader addressed, is that changed throughout, etc, etc, etc. So all the stuff that we've been looking at from all the different analysis that we've been going through for the other poems, just bring that out now to the fore. You've seen I use a lot of stock answers, especially with like say something like enjambment, why enjambment's being used for structure, or why a dash is used, etc. And then you want to actually just be able to build on that. So again, we'll just be coming back to these points here when we're actually writing our essay, because we're just going to use a short PL essay, and we're just going to write 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, and all of them based around this. Write as much as you can. Remember, you're not going to lose marks for going over. You're going to lose marks for not having stuff down. So get as much as you can, and remember, you're going to use these phrases and just build it up. The only thing that you're going to miss, obviously, is this last section here with the S, because you're not switching between any poems. You're just looking at one in section B. So get your point down, evidence, analyze, then link, and then start again. Point, evidence, analyze, link, and do that 2-3 times. Remember to spend twice as much time on section A as section B, and I hope that's useful, and good luck.